Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Colleen Meyer and Mintz Consulting, bringing you Fearless in Pink. And we have an amazing woman here today as our guest. Her name is LaVonne Sheild. LaVonne, tell us about you.
Yeah, jumping right in. I go for it. Okay. So yeah, LaVonne Sheild is my name. My company is Management Consultants of America. We are business accountability coaches with emphasis on the account and strategic accounting. So what we do is we take business owners who are technicians who know how to generate income and turn them into CEOs who know how to run an organization. I love what I do. I've been doing it for, I would give you a number of years, but we don't need to go that deep into the dating of me. But I've been doing it for a while, and it's my passion. I'm pretty confident it's my purpose. And I've been able to meet amazing people like you and be a part of amazing organizations like NAWBO. And it opens up so much for me of what I get to do. But what I love doing is having that aha moment with a business owner where they really realize that they can play the same way the big dogs play, which is using their numbers as a strategic tool and being able to use that to help them build, lead, and grow their business. So I love it. I have a ball with what I get to do every single day.
Now, let's talk about strategic. You use that word. What does that look like when it comes to accounting and working with customers?
Well, yeah, it's the biggest part about it because with most businesses, they might be generating great income, but they have poor cash flow. So my strategic part of it came into play when it was about taking over the cash flow, giving business owners that pause moment to where they can really assess, okay, what do I have? What do I owe? What's my comfort zone? And then it frees up their mind. So when I took this in, I was working with a client. It was one of my actually the funny part about it was actually my last W-2 job that I worked for. They brought me in as a consultant, and I was helping them out on something, and I realized that the executive director was just kind of paying bills just as things went, but we were always out of money. Like, we never had money to do stuff, and it was so frustrating. Even when I was an employee, that was the same way things were going. I was like, let's do something different. Let's try something different. Let's set a date each week where we're going to pay bills. And so if we got it, then we got it. If we don't, then we know we got to go out and get it. That's the whole point. But it freed up so much to where we ended up having, and this had never happened in the organization before I was there, or even at any point while I was there, we ended up with a $40,000 cash reserve. We literally had 40, and this is right for a nonprofit too, right? We literally had $40,000 just set aside because we were able to maneuver. It was an amazing thing. And I realized, okay, so if a nonprofit can do this, imagine what a for-profit who has the ability to really go out and generate income on their own terms, on their own time, and what that can do. And so when I took that same concept to working with my for-profit business clients, it really gave the owners so much clarity in their mind. It gave the team so much clarity and be able to do what they do, because no one was worrying about, can we afford to do this? Or why did you spend that? Because now we can't do this. And so by learning to use your numbers as a strategic tool, it really changes the game of business. And I like to think of business as a game. So once you learn how to play, then it becomes a whole different deal. I like to liken it to baseball. I have 3 sons. They're all older now, but I knew having 3 sons plus 5 nephews, I was going to be a team mom and mom and part of youth sports. I just knew it. I was accepting it. But the one thing I dreaded was baseball. Like, as long as we don't have to play baseball, I don't have to be involved in baseball, I will be fine, because baseball made no freaking sense to me. I didn't understand a game with no time limit. Like, how long does he get to sit there and swing the bat? Like, why are we still here? And it's hot. It's hot. What are we doing? And then finally, after fighting it, we went through 2. It was crazy. So we had the kids, and we were in this family room, and my cousin looked up and said, hey, I think we need to take over the baseball league. And I looked around and I said, I think I'm the only one in the family who took French as a foreign language, and I think you're using the word we incorrectly. And she was like, no, we got to do this. I was like, no, we don't have to do this. So I got outvoted. We took over the baseball league. 2 years in, I had to learn to keep score. Blew my mind. I understood the stats. I understood why they called it the thinking man's game. And when I was able to take that thought process and turn it into, turn that same viewpoint into looking at business that way, I was like, oh, wow. If you understand the stats, if you understand exactly what you have to give up, if you understand exactly what it is that you're pushing towards, and then you're monitoring what's going on, because baseball has no time limit. Mm-hmm. You can keep going until someone literally wins or loses that game. So if you liken it to business, it becomes a true strategic play. I'll give up this runner. I'll give up this batter. I'll let them get out at bat because I know I got one of my fastest runners on base. If I can just figure out how to keep letting him move around, I'm a scorer. So it's just a matter of figuring out how do you play with it. And it became so fascinating to me that it was like, okay, yeah, I need to change the conversation that business owners are having about money and when it comes to money into this is a strategy, just like how your marketing is a strategy, just how your products are a strategy. All of that becomes a strategy. Throw the numbers into that and then watch the sparks fly.
Mm. Now let's talk about business owners. Do you feel that many business owners are intimidated by bookkeeping? Or because I just find that when I come across and you talk about, their finances, they don't have QuickBooks or other type of software, or they're having their mom do it or their sister do it, or they're trying to do it, but they can't do everything. Nobody's an expert at everything. Do you find that to be the case?
Yeah, it is. It's so funny. I come across so many people that are like, I'm not a numbers person. I don't know accounting. And I do a pause. Hold on. If you know how to keep a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food on your plate, you understand accounting. What you don't understand how to do is to do it as a strategy. Mm-hmm. Our society teaches us you get trained, you get a job, and then you stay there for 30 years, and then that's it. That had been the flow. It became a little different where you keep going to where you can find it, but it was still the same concept of you have a skill and you let someone tell you what your value is for that one, and then you build your lifestyle around that. Well, as a true entrepreneur, you say, no, I want to make this amount. I'm going to go out and make that amount, and I'm going to figure out how do I do that. And you use your money your money, just like your time, just like your connections, just like your team. You use it as a resource to help you move yourself forward on that game, to help you progress your plays and keep you moving forward. And so, yeah, they get intimidated by it because it's my industry, as from its past, its history has been accountants are, they're creepy people who don't get a whole lot of sun, and they sit in fish bowls, and you try not to talk to them if you don't have to, kind of thing. That's how it was. And ever since I launched my business, I knew I wanted to do it differently. I knew it. I knew the advisory service was going to be a crucial part because people have to trust you. They have to trust you to know that. To tell you everything. So when I look at a business owner's books, I know I'm going to see commingling. I know it's there. It's a natural thing that's going to happen, especially for a small business owner. There's no perfection in this. But I need you to trust me enough to let me see what you need so I can say, hey, we can still do this. Let's just do it strategically. There's line items on the tax form that gives us the capability of giving you this comfort and protection that you need. Let's use them. Let's set ourselves up for it. I tell people all the time, tax strategy is like high fashion. You got to find the right fit for you. I'm not wearing anything strapless and backless. It's not going to be supported on this body whatsoever. However, if I go to the right stylist, I'm going to find something that's going to accentuate my body very, very well. So you find the right strategy that works for you, and then you rock the hell out of it, dude. You just get it in there.
Now let's talk about, how did you get started in this? Is this something like when you were growing up, I always wanted to do this, or is it something that kind of stumbled into?
Kind of a double yes and yes to both of those. So interesting. So I got into managing money. Oddly enough, it started off when I was a young girl and I was in Girl Scouts. Yeah, very interesting. So my dad took me to the troop. And it was that, it was that time of year, crack sales, the cookie sales, the legal crack. And so he went to the troop, and instead of us just taking the order form and me going from friends and family and asking them, if they want to buy cookies, he went ahead and just bought the cases directly from the troop. So now our fundraising requirements were met, and he turned to me and he looked at him and he said, whatever you sell, you get to keep the cash. Interesting. So I ate like almost all the chocolate chip because, I mean, dude, you already bought them, so I'm gonna enjoy the fruits.
They're yours now.
Right, they're mine now. But as I sold all the rest of the cookies, I had this cash. And it gave me this freedom. So now when I went to the mall with my friends, it wasn't a this or that. We can go to the movies or we can go eat. I'm like, well, I like and conversations. So I want to go to the movies and I want to eat. So y'all got to get on my level here because this is a totally different deal. And so then I became obsessed with tracking, like how much do I actually have? So you add my Girl Scout cookie money, you add the fact that my grandparents used to give us money for our grades, you know, you get $20 for A's and stuff like that. So I was always developing money because I was like a bee without effort growing up. You know, kind of thing. So I always had money. So then it became an issue of keeping track of it. So then I became an organizer junkie because they had that little financial part in it where you can keep track of it. So I'd write down, this went to McDonald's, this is what here, or this is when grandma gave me money. So I was keeping track of it. And that was so fascinating because I knew exactly what I could do. It was a question of that. And then the downfall was that my older siblings, because I'm the youngest of three, also knew when I had money, so they knew when to ask me for money. So I also had line items for them. Gave this to Chris, gave this to Ronnie. So I was, but keeping track of it was so fascinating to me because it was empowering. And then I started volunteering at my dad's job. At the time, he was the president and CEO of Motown Records, and I would work in different departments. It was very fascinating. I mean, it was interesting because my sister and I were close, but growing up, we're 3 years apart. So there's those times when if she's 13, a 10-year-old little sister is not who you want to hang out with, right? Yeah. So I would spend my time with my dad because he was like, what else are you going to do? Just come up here with me. And he's the boss who's going to say, you know, you can't bring your kid to work, right? So, but I would work in different departments. So then I learned administration. So I added admin work with my passion for managing numbers. And then that's how my accountability system, it got planted. That's how that seed got planted. And so as I worked, I got my degree in accounting. I worked in different businesses. And the one thing I knew was there's a rhythm to way businesses function. And the numbers are how that rhythm gets determined. When you know what you're doing, then you know what the flow is. So as you and I were talking about before, you know, music, you know, my playlist is like totally eclectic. And so I took that same thought process and I looked at businesses and I go, okay, so your business is running at like really angry rock right now. Like it's I don't see where we're going with this. And I know that there's some heart into it, but no one else is going to be able to follow along with what you got going on until we take some of the anger out and we start to really figure out what the issues is. And some businesses were just like way too mellow of jazz. It's like, yeah, we're not going to get where you want to go with this too laid back of a format for how things are going. So it's a matter of finding that rhythm. And that became my passion, was working with companies and going, okay, so what's the rhythm? How do we fix this? How do we get it to where you're not worrying about, do you have enough money to pay your bills? Because that means that you're not focusing on getting the right kinds of clients. That means you're not focused on making sure that the culture of your company is going the way it's supposed to go. You're constantly on the get the money, get the money, get the money, get the money. And if that's all you're looking for, then yeah, this is a short-term deal for you because that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So you add all that together, and then after years of working in different companies, I just realized I like working with different people. I like working with and getting different fields. My AED does not allow me to just sit in one space all the time. You know, whenever I would get with a client, I would go, okay, so hey, can you start coming in more frequently? I'm like, that sounds like a job, and I don't do those anymore. I don't do that anymore. So knowing I like working with different people, I realized, okay, so let's just focus on building my client base and making connections with people and kind of spreading this whole thought process that accounting doesn't have to be scary. Doesn't have to be the dagger that's plunging into your side, you know, killing you. It can literally be the sword that saves you if you're paying attention. If you've got somebody focused on it, because at some point as a business owner, you can't wear that hat anymore. because it becomes overwhelming and becomes stressful, becomes too much. So the great part about small businesses is very rarely that you need a full-time accounting person. You just need someone who has the ability to focus on those numbers and connect them to the business, and that's the role I play. I call myself the CFO for the average Joe because most small business owners don't think of the term CFO, and they automatically think a minimum of $80,000 a year they got to pay somebody for that position. Like, no, we can figure out what it is you can't afford to pay. But it's all about having someone who's got your back in that same format. The same way you have it, you'll be excited about bringing in a marketing person or an admin person. Think of your accounting person the same way. Someone who's going to give you perspective on that and help you use your numbers to literally build and grow your business.
And don't you think, on top of all those wonderful things, because that's like you said, I love that it's the sword that can save you. But also you want to make sure it's done right, because you don't want whatever state you're living in or the IRS going, hey, wait a minute, if it's not done right, they're going to be knocking on the door saying you owe us money, and it's not
right. I tell people all the time, I was like, I don't look good in orange and not in certain shades of blue. So unless I can use my insanity defense, we ain't doing it. So it's all about, understanding where things go. And so that was the other part about, that's why I loved working with so many different industries, is I got to see where the general tax code or the general tax structure and accounting structure, how it pivots and adjusts for each type of industry, each type of business, each company culture. There's a certain way. And so it's all about, for me, it's all about getting into the head of the business owner to figure out, okay, so how can I present this in a way to where you understand what these numbers mean? Because here's the funny thing, as much as people say, I'm not a numbers person, I don't like accounting, we all have some kind of running tally in our head that lets us know exactly what we can and cannot do. I mean, there's very few people who look at their bank account and go, oh, wow, how did I get overdrawn? That's very rare. I mean, people know, like, oh, well, yeah, that's what happens when you forget to make the deposit or you forget to do something. But when you take that running tally out of your head and put it in front of you as a tool, a strategic tool, you can go, okay, so this week I can't pay Sprint. Sprint's going to give me 3 months before they decide to cut me off. However, I know I need to pay for my inventory. So let's pay the inventory. Let's get the sales guys out there, racking up sales, closing deals, get the money coming in, and then we'll pay Sprint. We know we got some wiggle room in there. But again, allows you to make that as a strategic call as opposed to a reactionary call about what's going on. Oh, I'm going to pay this right now. Why? Well, because they called. So, well, we need it. Not necessarily. Kind of thing. So it allows you to step back from feeling like you're constantly reacting and then wondering why you never feel like you have any cash. You're so always underwater. Well, when you can take a step back and say, hey, they're a business just like me. I can only give them what I got, and they can only give what they have. So as long as we're in communication and they know that I'm not intentionally trying to not pay my bill, and that we have a strong relationship and we're open with communication, they'll understand it. They'll get it. And if they really are a good partner for you, then they will also help make sure that you succeed, because you're their customer, you're their income. So if they lose you, then they got to go find a replacement for you. So we're all working together. All the teams might be going against each other in major league sports, but ultimately they're all working together to get as many fans as they can, so that they can support the league, so the league can give them as much as they can. That's so that we can build a freaking bubble for the NBA players to play out the rest of their season. I mean, all that took teamwork, right? It took all of the teams coming together going, okay, we need to close out this season. We need to make sure that we still have jobs. How do we all do this? Let's play the numbers. What can we afford to do? How can we get the sponsors to help kick this in? And how do we make sure this works? Boom, strategy. There you go.
Now, I know that it's interesting because there's companies that are seasonal. Like if you go to Big Bear or you go skiing somewhere, their business is, when it's cold and it's that season. So I like the way you think, because it prepares you for that when a company is out of season, like a ski resort. So that money has to carry, or if you're in that space, you have to come up with solutions to get you back into where you're back into the game, when you're in the height of your particular season. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Now let's talk about you. Let's go back. Let's go back to when you decided, I'm tired of working for somebody else. I'm going to be my own boss. If we can go back to that person, what advice would you give her, if anything?
Well, I tell her, buckle up, Buttercup, it's about to be a hell of a ride. Because part of the transition was, I had young sons, I was working somewhere, and what I realized, I was the last full-time job I had, I was there because it was a family business. So the daughter, a husband and wife, and then her brother, they all ran the company together. But they brought me in so that she could be there for her young kids. And I was like, well, wait. So she gets to be a mom, but I don't. That does not sound like that. That doesn't sound like it's working for me. And that was in the height of technology kicking in, because I was never busy at the office unless they were there. If they were gone, I had like nothing to do. So I was like, so how about let's start working on this kind of remote thing? Because if I don't need to be here, then why do you want to keep paying me for hours for me to be here? I'm just playing solitaire and free cell on your dime. I could be doing something better. You could be using that money for something different. So at some point I was like, okay, I need to give myself the freedom so that I can be there for my sons. I want to be there for my sons. I don't want them, I just wanted to have a better connection with them, because it was getting close to that time. They were, my youngest one was 3, which means he was getting ready to break into his first level of independence. And I wanted to be there for that. My oldest one at the time was 7, so he was getting ready to make his transition from, the lower end of the totem pole at elementary school to be in the higher end of elementary school. And I wanted to be there for that. And then my middle one was right there in the middle. And so it was a matter of how do I do that? But what would I tell her? I would tell her that she's about to meet some amazing people. Because NAWBO, National Association of Women Business Owners, was one of the first places that I found that gave me some hope. It gave me a place of realizing that there's a whole collection of women who are just like me, trying to figure out how do they balance their life, their womanhood, their whatever roles that they play. Because we as women, we're such chameleons, and we have this tendency to allow everyone to be taken care of before us. I walked into a room and I found a support system. That was one of the first times I really understood the concept of tribe. People who are all working together for the ultimate goal of, we all got to get through this shit. We got to get through it, right? So I would tell her, you're going to find some tribes, and it's going to make everything so much better. Just be confident, be comfortable, and understand it's about the journey. There's no destination here. Just buckle up, Buttercup, because it will be an interesting journey.
I love that. I think that resonates with women business owners, and women love to collaborate. You're talking about
we do it so well.
We do it well.
Oh my goodness! Within a 90-minute meeting, we can handle business, solve your personal problems, drink a bottle of wine.
That's right. Let's talk about customer. And if let's say we have a listener that wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Okay, well, pretty easy. My website is accountingstrong.com. So accountingstrong.com. You can find me there, and on there you're able to schedule a free accountability session. So if you want to talk about your finances, you can schedule that from there. I'm on social media. My handle for LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, my personal ones, are my name, LaVonne Shields, LaVonne Shields. And then I also have a Facebook group called Accounting for the Non-Accountants. So that's a place where we have conversations about money that breaks it down into a conversation that people can actually have. And then you can also find me on Instagram under my business page. It's Biz Accountability. So that's how you can reach me. Those are probably the easiest ways to reach me, is through those mediums. And then my email address, LaVonne@accountingstrong.com.
and we'll make sure we get all that information available to listeners. But thank you so much. I just wanted to say, I know you're busy, you're a mama, you're a business owner, and you took the time to come and speak to us. So thank you so much, LaVonne.
Thank you. I was honored to be able to be here. So thank you. I appreciate it.